Welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. Today we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna be sampling from vinyl. I actually have 3 separate sources that I'm gonna be sampling from. Let me get the other record player. I have the Numark PT01 and I have the Technica lp60, and I'm also gonna use YouTube or my phone to sample. So we got 3 separate sources, we got 1 record, and we're just gonna compare the audio signal from these 3 separate sources. Now the reason why I felt like I have to make this video is because we talk a lot about sampling in this channel, and that's something that we love to do. So as we're talking about sampling, we're learning about sampling, I feel like it's only right to dive into vinyl, because I will let you guys know, experiencing the sound of vinyl is different. Like, it just feels different. Now, one thing I am gonna mention is both of these record players are at the same exact price. They're $130 for both. Now, they are different and they do sound very different. That's why I wanna make this video. So these are under $200. So I feel like most of us can afford these record players. So for under $200, I wanted to go ahead and put these head to head and see which one sounds better. And a few things that I do want to run through real quick before we dive into it is portability. This one's obviously very portable. You guys can pick this one up. There's batteries you can put in the back of it. You don't even have to have it plugged to an outlet. Very portable, and I think a lot of people use these to scratch. Now, something to keep in mind, I'm a novice with all this stuff. I don't know much about record players. I know there's so many out there that run for so much more than what these cost, but I don't know much about the technical stuff about the record players. So I wanted to go ahead and make this video as somebody like me. I'm just sampling audio. I don't know too much about scratching. So that's something to keep in mind. We're just gonna listen to the audio quality and test that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one down, and we'll start with the Technica. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sample it into the MPC, and I'm gonna do all 3 devices. And at the end, we're gonna compare an A/B and see which one sounds better or worse, which is, I'll just let you guys know right now, there's a huge difference. All right, let me get my headphones on, and all right, we're gonna start off with the Technica. Awesome. All right, so we got that sample. I'm just gonna name it AT for Technica. Hit do it, and let's keep it. I'm gonna go ahead and switch this one up and put the PT01. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, one thing I'm gonna mention, and I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up, this PT01 is gonna sound extremely different, and not in a good way. Let's see, where's the, oh, here it is. The reason why I wanted to mention this, and I'm still gonna do this, even though it's not even a comparison, because it's so different, is because as you guys are jumping into this, it's kind of hard to know, like, hey, you know, which one sounds good or bad, or, you know, these cost money. So it's not like you're gonna purchase a few of them and compare them. So I kind of thought I'd make the video and compare them for you guys, so I could, you know, maybe save you a few bucks if you guys are in debate. One thing to keep in mind is I've had this for a very long time. A very long time. So I'm sure throughout time, the needle, you know, probably gets damaged. And on the PT01, I cannot switch the needle. I have seen some people on YouTube that somehow, like, they'll hack it and they're able to switch it, but you know, it's not really meant to switch. So that's a bummer. And on the Technica, you could switch it, which is awesome, because if it gets damaged or throughout time, you guys can go ahead and switch that. Now right here, it's gonna be the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and sample the same song. Go ahead and arm it, and let's drop the needle. All right, so that's obviously a huge difference. Let's just name this PT01. The last source is, we're gonna sample from our iPhone. So let's go ahead and do that. So the reason why I'm throwing the iPhone in here, obviously, is not a record player, but it's something that we all have access to. I mean, if you have a phone, you could sample from YouTube, what most of us do nowadays. And it makes sense, you know, it's convenient, it's the most portable, is in our pockets, and we have millions of records that we can go ahead and search. So I'm definitely gonna throw in YouTube right here. All right, so let's go ahead and hit arm and let's sample this. Let's name this YouTube, hit do it, keep, and now we go to our sample editor. So right here we have three different sources. We have Audio Technica, which is labeled AT, we have PT01, and then we have YouTube. Okay, so what we're gonna do real quick is we're gonna compare all these three different sources. I'm gonna start with Audio Technica, PT01, and YouTube. I'm not gonna talk in between, so let's go ahead and compare these. All right, so obviously there's a huge difference with the PT01. Yeah, that's just not gonna cut it. Now YouTube and the Audio Technica, those are a little more closer. And even then, the YouTube versus the Audio Technica, there's still a pretty noticeable difference. Let's compare now just the Audio Technica versus the YouTube source. Now, there's obviously a difference with the YouTube versus the Audio Technica. The record player obviously sounds a lot fuller. It sounds like there's more low end, and the high end is just not gritty and trashy. It sounds really good compared to the YouTube version. The YouTube version obviously is very compressed, and the high frequencies are a little cheap and gritty, which is not the best sounding, but we could work with this. You could go ahead and EQ and add some low end or take off some of that high end. You can work with that, definitely workable. And that's why I say, if you guys do not have a record player, depending on your living situation, just sampling from YouTube, you can work with it. It's not gonna be something that's gonna break it apart. Versus the PT01, again, I don't know, if you guys own the PT01, let us know down in the comments if you guys, if this sounds similar to your PT01, or is it just mine? But that is something that I cannot work with. I cannot enhance that. I can't add in low end when I'm not even capturing low end. Again, these two record players are the same price, $130, but I feel that this one's probably not as portable, but this, you could switch out the needle if it gets damaged throughout time, but over here, you're not gonna have that option. So it's pretty obvious. I would definitely recommend coming this direction, especially for the same price. You guys can probably even find it cheaper. But this was an important topic that I really wanted to touch up on, since we talk a lot about sampling in this channel, and capturing a good source of audio is crucial. So if you guys have not experienced vinyl, or if you guys have not purchased a record player just yet, here's a great entry level that I would recommend. At least from my experience, the Audio Technica is something that I definitely give a thumbs up to. I think in the long run, the Audio Technica is still gonna be the best bang for your buck. Now, both of these are very easy to use. They're not complicated. If you guys are like me, we don't know much about how these work or how to set them up. It was so simple to set it up right out of the box. It took no more than 5 minutes, and you can go ahead and start sampling vinyl, which is gonna sound awesome. And now the last thing that I am gonna say, if you guys are gonna consider in picking up a record player to sample vinyl, and let me take these off. And let's say you guys live in an area where records are not accessible to you. Maybe you guys don't have any record shop nearby where you live. Go on eBay. If you go on eBay, there's different sellers that actually sell stacks of vinyl for like $20, $25. And you can go ahead and pick up a funk stack, or soul, or 70s Latin soul music. And like I said, you can pick up like 10, 20, or 30 stack of vinyl records, and I mean, throughout those 30, you might find some gold right there, and they're pretty cheap. They're like $20, $25. Now, I really hope you guys found some value out of this video, as we do talk a lot about sampling, so this is a must-do video. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up right here. If you guys have not done so already, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this content. And again, thank you so much for your time. I'll catch you guys on our next video.